Housing, healthcare, education, public transportation. Those are all issues that community leader and Mount Pleasant resident Donna Brown-Newton wants to take to Columbia to tackle for the residents of South Carolina House District 99. And that's why she's running to represent those folks as its next state representative. I speak exclusively with Donna for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and download my free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores. Donna Brown-Newton, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Well, thank you for inviting me, Quintin. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it too as well. Obviously, you are a candidate for South Carolina House District 99. Why Donna Brown-Newton? Why now for that?
I said, why not? I've lived in South Carolina my entire life. I've lived a resident of Mount Pleasant for generations. We've been there for generations. And I've seen a lot of things, and I figured, why not me be the person to work with the state to get things done, the things that we need to get done in our community.
What are those things that you see right now in House District 99 that needs to be done?
Well, we need to, some of the main things I see is, I live in Snowden.
Oh yeah.
And our community right now is pretty much fighting for basic quality of life services. And those services are just sewage for the entire community. We're right now working with County Council and the town of Mount Pleasant and Mount Pleasant Waterworks, and hopefully to come up with a solution that's going to be beneficial for the residents and also for the entities that's involved, which is town of Mount Pleasant and Mount Pleasant Waterworks. So it's a challenge, but our community is up for it. I believe that we deserve to have quality of life, and it should be something that we should receive.
How do you, Donna, as a resident of Mount Pleasant and really Snowden, a South Carolina resident, and now a candidate for South Carolina House District 99, get from a challenge to a solution when it comes to sewage?
Well, what you do is you go out and you talk. You have to advocate. You have to go out there and be a voice. What we've done, I work with a group called Snowden Advocacy Group. We've been to county council meetings. We explained to them our situation. And county council actually is in favor of what we're trying to do. And our biggest obstacle right now is the town of Mount Pleasant and Mount Pleasant Waterworks. And hopefully we can come to some solution that will make everybody happy.
Happy. You talked earlier about Mount Pleasant. Obviously, you're a resident of Mount Pleasant, where you've lived for a long time, and you live now with your son and grandson, and have devoted the better part of your life to public service. I know, obviously, you were involved with the 1969 strike. How do you look at public service from 1969 to right now?
Unfortunately, we're still in the same struggle. Because back then, when we in that march we did for the nurses back in 50 years ago, they were fighting for quality pay, equal pay for all people. You do the same work, get the same pay. And right now, basically, we're having the same fight right now. There's a fight for 15, which is a good start. But sometimes $15 an hour may not be enough for some people, because if you live in a community like Mount Pleasant, and the minimum range income starts at $75,000. That's their base, their rent, home ownership on, and that's just, it's not feasible for people who live there, and also people who work there. So they're based on the numbers of people who live in Mount Pleasant is not as much as the people who work there, because people who work there can't even afford to live there, because there's a couple of things going on: transportation and affordable housing. And it's impossible for people who live in that, who don't live there, to even to get a job there and work. Even, we talking nurses, we talking teachers, we talking firefighters, they can't afford to live in Mount Pleasant. So something's got to be done across the board throughout the state of South Carolina as far as this affordable housing issue goes.
Is it workforce housing, Donna, or is it attainable housing, or how do you define affordable housing?
Well, I define affordable housing as you be able to work. But right now, the minimum wage is only $7.65, I believe. And affordable housing should be, you should not be able to pay more than 30% of your income for housing. Right now, if you're only making $7 an hour, it's impossible to afford to live in an area when they base the income at $75,000 a year. Even with $15 an hour raise, it would only get you to $30,000 a year, which is still not feasible to live in certain areas in Charleston County and in Berkeley County. So we need to work on that. Affordable housing, it all depends who you're talking to. Workforce housing is another term we use. And also workforce housing is a better term because it bases the housing on the people who work be able to afford to live.
What's really affordable in House District 99?
House District 99, what they consider affordable, they all consider affordable $20,000 house, which is really affordable for some people, but for the majority, for the residents there, that's unattainable because if you only make minimum wage, even $15 an hour, you can't afford to live there with that particular salary that you have right now. So we need to be able to at least bring it down to at least bring the median income towards affordable housing to at least $30,000 as the base income, in which the housing will be a little bit cheaper, more affordable for the people that actually live and work in those industries, especially service. Charleston is pretty heavily service industry, so we need to be able to accommodate those people who work in the service industry.
If you were to become a House representative for House District 99, what businesses would you recruit to House District 99 if you could?
Businesses. Well, we got a lot of businesses there. Basically, a lot of it's mainly service industry. We have a lot of box stores like Walmart and Costco's, and so those things we have industries there. All we need to do is make it affordable for people to come and live and work there. If you don't have transportation to get to the job, then you can't even work at a job. So it's important to be able to increase wage, get people to a job, get public transportation where people can get to and from, so that because everybody can't afford a car, don't have a car, and so it's better if you're able to have public transportation, and also it decreases pollution. It doesn't affect the environment as much for public transportation. So the type of industry I would believe to have there, just what we have right now, which is good, but just get more people be able accessible to the jobs that's there.
What is the state of public transportation, Donna?
It is little to none at all, especially going across the bridge east of the Cooper, right. Even the Somerville area, the hand-to-hand area represent, and Daniel Island is none at all. You can't, if you live, say you live downtown and you got to get a nice job on Daniel Island, you can't get that job unless you have a vehicle. If that things change, where public transportation would run more frequently, in Mount Pleasant, you can get a bus every hour or so, maybe, if you're lucky. And other than that, that's all we have. So it's non-existent, more or less.
When they obviously developed the new, public transportation line from Somerville to Charleston, where exactly in House District 99 do you want bus stops?
Well, definitely you need bus stops to go into communities. Right now we have bus stops that run just down Highway 17, which is good, but for some communities that's like an hour, not an hour, 2-3 mile walk from the nearest bus stop to your house. So in essence, you need a bus to get you from the bus stop to your home. So it's 17 down 41, we need buses there, and also in the Hannon area you need buses. So buses will be effective in the Mount Pleasant area, the Daniel Island area, and also the hand-to-hand community.
And you talk about Highway 41. Let me stop there because obviously there's a public discussion about the future of Highway 41. As a resident of Mount Pleasant, how do you view that future?
I view it as going, right now, what they're doing, they're going backwards. What they should have done when they built all the development in the community, what should have been done first was develop the highway first. And then get the highway in there, and then have the development come in later. But right now, people are angry, especially the people who live on Highway 41. They've been displaced before when they built Highway 41. Residents there have property on one side of 41 and the other side of 41. So now they're talking about widening 41, which is going to make things even more difficult. They're talking about taking away more people's property, and it normally affects, unfortunately, the minority community that they have to give up so much just to be able to accommodate the wider roads, the more access to people to get to their homes, which is understandable. They should be upset. And I, as a resident of Mount Pleasant, I feel it's unfair that all the time when decisions are being made, unfortunately, a lot of people, because most of the majority of people that live in Mount Pleasant do not live in the town of Mount Pleasant, so they don't have a voice on town council, so they can't vote. And so they're making decisions about us, and we're not there.
I want to go back earlier to, we talked about obviously affordable housing and workforce housing, attainable housing. If you were a House representative today, what incentives do you want from developers if they were to come into the House District 99 and, you know, develop certain houses and whatnot?
Well, definitely try to consider the people that's been there for generations. Consider them, and also consider the fact that the median income, what the median income is. And when you build houses, think about building some houses that people can afford to actually live in. Not necessarily people, especially people who live there. Right now, the residents there, majority, like take my children for example,
Sure.
They cannot afford to even live in Mount Pleasant because once they finish high school, they can't afford to rent a home there. The reason I'm there, because my family has been there for generations, so I'm able to live there because I live on family-owned property.
That's amazing. I gotta go back to the highways because obviously we talked earlier about Highway 41, and then obviously people were talking about 526 in that area. How do you widen that?
Well, right now, I don't see a way of widening Highway 41. They have to find another route. And when I was told is that when they first started developing those communities like Park West, Carolina Park, there was an alternative route for a road. And developers said, okay, but they didn't build a road. So now they're backtracking and trying to build a road, but they actually want to displace the people that's been there for generations, because understandably the new residents are there do not want to have a highway come through their property, which is understandable. So the residents have been there for generations feel the same exact way. So there got to be another plan as to how to get people through that area besides widening 41 and displacing so many families that's been there for so long.
So long. And if you go up to 526, should that be widened in your mind?
With 526, which area? The Long Point, Mount Pleasant area? Oh, definitely not. I live on Long Point Road on 526. Right. So I don't see, it's right now, it's so difficult for residents to even leave their home because I live on 526 on Long Point Road. It's impossible. Something takes me as long as 5 minutes to get out my driveway in the morning. So widening that area, no. Definitely do not extend 526 in Mount Pleasant, and definitely do not widen Long Point Road.
And you talked earlier about obviously your kids and how, you know, obviously they, you know, went to, you know, schools here in this town. Where are you with the discussion about education reform?
Well, education reform is fine. I believe that it should equal across the board. We should have to build different programs, separate programs for students. When if you give the same information to all the students in all the schools, then all schools will be equal. But as it stands right now, you have to leave your home school to go to a public charter school or a magnet school, and when it should be equal, everything should be taught at all the schools for all the students, get the same education. It shouldn't be a separate program for certain students, which to me, and I believe is what's happening. It's becoming to be another form of segregation. Because even though you have the choice schools, a lot of kids can't get to the choice schools because you don't have back to transportation again. If you don't have the way to get there, or your parents have to work 2 jobs, how is your child, even though you may feel your child excel in certain areas, will not be able to attend the schools because of lack of transportation and parents' availability to get them to and from those particular choice schools.
And how would you work as far as, you know, fixing the school bus system in South Carolina if you were a House representative today?
Well, the bus system is, what they need right now is more drivers. Okay. That's the main issue with the buses for Charleston County, is more drivers and more skilled workers to be able to to get the buses, because the kids right now, if kids have to travel an hour on a bus, for some schools, it's impossible for them to get a quality education because the bus is not running frequently enough, or don't have enough drivers. That means the driver will have to go and pick up one load of kids, then come. That means your child will have to get out there earlier in the morning to get their bus, and then the next bus, the same bus, will come back to get another group of children. So we need to have more drivers, more buses, and better, modern buses. Because what I see with the buses we have right now, they need to be updated, especially with seat belts, more cameras, things to make kids more safer on the bus.
On the bus. Where is the infrastructure for this?
Oh boy, that's another thing. The roads need to be improved, because if the transportation is, the roads are not being fixed. There's no sidewalks, so the kids can't walk to school. So there need to be a plan in place for the kids to be able to get to the schools. If the school's in walking distance, right now, I live in a down community. They built Lucy Beckham High School. So right now, it's much better for the kids. They can walk to school. Fortunately, I live in a community, we have sidewalks in part of the community. On the other areas, there's sidewalks on Long Point Road, but there's no sidewalk in the other part of the community. So kids can get there, which I'm pleased that this district did allow our children to attend Lucy Beckham High School opposed to the old Wando High School, because now the kids have a better opportunity to be able to walk to school, participate in more sports when the parents are not able to take them to and from school. So it was a plus there. But the roads need to be fixed. There need to be more sidewalks to make it more accessible for kids to attend the schools.
Let me turn to health care. If you were a House representative today, how would you work with the governor to expand Medicaid in South Carolina?
I would encourage him to definitely accept the Medicaid expansion, because it's a needed position. Because what happened right now, South Carolina actually closed over 5 rural hospitals. And I tell people all the time, I experience the fact that people not having health insurance is a thing that affects everybody from one time or another. I remember I had a close friend that she used the emergency room for her primary care physician. When she was finally diagnosed with cancer, it was too late because she didn't have health insurance to be able to go to the hospitals. So unfortunately, using the emergency room, what a lot of people do because they don't have health insurance, it's not an adequate resource for us to have good health care. So the governor, I would try to explain to the governor and talk to him, let him know how important it is from a personal prospect of how people suffer from not being able to go to the doctor on a regular basis.
Would you be in support of really funding South Carolina community health cares with expanded Medicaid dollars?
Definitely, yes, we do. And we need more hospital clinics near neighborhoods, especially rural neighborhoods, where the kids, sometimes you have to travel as much as an hour to get to a doctor. So with expanded Medicare, we can also put clinics in rural areas. Instead of closing them down, we can open more, so people have more accessibility to the hospitals, because prevention is much better than trying to cure somebody.
And when it comes to those healthcare providers, what incentives would you, put forth towards them as far as, keeping healthcare alive in South Carolina?
Well, try to explain to them how much it's cheaper and more efficient to have healthy people opposed to sick people. I understand that medicine and healthcare is a big business right now, because what it is, it's all for profit. You need to change that for profit for medication. When you can be able to treat more people with medication and prevention, then they won't have to have all the medicine they need to sustain their life. And I understand it's going to cut back on their profits, but profit shouldn't be the only thing when you think about people's health.
Let me turn over to the state's budget. Obviously, this past week they had the budget week in Columbia. If you were there today, what would you vote on, Donna?
Definitely expanding health care. Definitely improving, increasing the teacher salary. That's a definite need to be done. It's unbelievable a teacher work a full-time job, first-year teacher, and only makes $36,000 a year. You got college debt you have to worry about. You spent 4 years in college, and you come out and all you can be able to do is have $36,000 a year as your annual salary of first-year teacher. So that needs to change. So we need to definitely increase the teacher's salary. That'll be the first thing, in my biggest concern, increase teacher salary and healthcare, expanding healthcare.
Okay. And I know on your website you said Donna Brown-Newton stands to be a bright future for the people. She will be serving District 99, which represents Berkeley and Charleston counties. Donna believes in transparency in our government and is dedicated to working for all the people, not just a select few. When you look at transparency in Columbia, what should be brought to the forefront in your mind?
Well, the main things I should think about, should be talking about, let people know exactly what's going on. Decisions being made with people with the wrong incentive. People, some representatives we have right now in Columbia are making decisions based on what the political party has to say about certain things. Just take the abortion act that was passed. They're not looking at the whole picture as far as giving women their rights over their body. It's like they want more or less control. So abortion is not for everybody. We understand that. Then don't get yourself involved in having an abortion. But some people's circumstances, rape, incest, certain circumstances, people need to be able to have the right to make the decision between the individual and the physician.
You also said this too. It is time for a change in the South Carolina State House District 99 with a new voice for the people. I know we can do this. How high will your voice go in Columbia, Donna?
Well, I'll try to make it go as high as I possibly can. I've always been an outspoken person as far as different things that goes on, like in the community. I've always been involved, and I've worked with the Disabilities Board. Right now I'm working with the Tax Accommodations Committee. So I'm working, I believe that I will be, it says squeaky wheel gets the oil. Certain things, you go there with the idea, there's certain things you have to push for. And so you have to keep pushing, keep encouraging, and reinforcing the voice. Right now, the representative we have right now for District 99, she has different ideas about things that should be done. So I believe that if you're going to be there, be for the people, listen to the people, understand what affects them, and then take that to Columbia, to the governor, to the State House, and let them understand that certain things affect certain people that's not being heard. Like I said, quality of life issues, sewage, water, highways, education. It's not being talked about, I feel, enough, and need to be expressed in a way that it can be acceptable for people to understand what's going on.
And if you were elected House Representative for District 99, what would you do on day one?
Day one would be to just learn what's going on, learn how it works, lay the land is, and also just talk about the things that I know about happening, especially affordable housing. Talk about that. Understand that, be the voice, say, you know what, we need to have a workout with developers that when they build a community, build so everybody can afford to live there. Today, people who live there for years can be able to afford the rent, or the mortgage, or the people that's newly coming there can also be able to afford to do it.
And where are you with teachers' pay? Can South Carolina afford this, or where would the money come from?
Well, South Carolina have a tendency of not wanting to tax in certain areas. So with the increase in millage, and especially in Charleston County, and redesign how the money is allocated for schools, I think that'll be the best way to get it done. As far as increased taxes on some things, it has to be done. That's a bad word. People don't like to use that word, but you don't have to increase. They got to pay somewhere. And increase the taxes right now is like pretty much the easiest way for it to be done, the quickest, more effective way.
Donna Brown-Newton, thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Thank you very much for having me, Quintin.
You're very welcome.